She woke up to a strange noise outside the window. The gray morning hadn't yet pierced the room, but the city was already alive. Someone rushing by on a bicycle, a dog barking somewhere, the smell of fresh bread from the bakery across the street. Lilia sat on her bed, hugging her knees, trying to recall what that sound had been. In her mind, images from the past flickered like a kaleidoscope. The past had always seemed safe, until it reminded her of itself unexpectedly. Today, it announced itself loudly, through a letter left at her door. Lilia picked it up and felt a chill of anxiety. An envelope without an address, only her name carefully written in ink that almost glowed in the dim light. She opened it. The letter was short but cryptic enough to make her heart race. "If you want to know the truth, meet me at the bridge under the old clock at 7 in the evening." Lilia placed the letter on the table and stared into empty space. Who could have left it? Her life had seemed ordinary, working at a bookstore, evening walks, friends from university, and suddenly a letter like this. She decided not to panic, yet an inner premonition gnawed at her. Someone from the past, she thought, and this past was dark, hidden, and she had always been afraid to confront it. Today began with intrigue. She put on her coat, grabbed her bag, and stepped outside. The city greeted her with the smell of morning coffee, damp asphalt after rain, and the soft sound of passers-by. Lilia felt like a tiny drop in the huge rhythm of life. The bridge mentioned in the letter was old. Its metal beams and wooden planks were weathered by time, and beneath it the river murmured quietly. The old clock on the tower looked down like an unwavering witness to events that had unfolded for decades. She climbed onto the bridge and began to look around. A light fog drifted between the buildings. The bridge was empty, save for the sound of her own breathing. Waiting was terrifying. Every minute seemed like an eternity. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. The same confident footsteps she remembered from long ago. Her heart skipped a beat. She turned and saw him, Andrew. His eyes had changed slightly, less childlike naivety, but the depth remained. He raised a hand and a faint smile appeared on his lips, unable to hide the unease. "Lilia, you came." She nodded, unsure what to say. He stepped closer and handed her another letter. "This is for you. You need to know the truth," he whispered. Lilia took the letter and opened it, reading each word slowly. Every letter felt like a step into darkness. The letter revealed events Lilia had long tried to forget, friends who weren't who they seemed, betrayals she hadn't noticed, secrets that shaped the lives of those she loved. Her heart raced. She felt fear, yet also curiosity and the thrill of discovering the truth. "Did you know about this?" she asked, barely audibly. He shook his head. "No, I found out myself recently. Now I want you to know everything." The city around them faded into the fog, yet they saw each other clearly. Every word, every glance filled the space with a meaning that could not be expressed in words, actions, or even thoughts. Here began their real journey into the past. They recalled university years, first jobs, small joys, and early losses. Each memory was a puzzle piece forming the picture of their lives. "Do you remember that night we got lost in the forest?" Andrew asked, with a smile but sadness in his eyes. Lilia nodded. "Yes, I remember, and how you saved me from the cold." "And I remember how you cried then," he replied softly. Each word echoed in her memory. With these words, she began to understand that the past's secrets could never be fully forgotten, but they could be accepted. They stood on the bridge for a long time, telling each other everything that had accumulated over the years. With each word, they drew closer, bridging the invisible distances between them. As the sun climbed higher, they were still there. The fog gradually lifted, and the city revealed a new day, a new opportunity, a new beginning. Lilia felt lightness. She knew that the truth could hurt, but hidden secrets were always heavier. Sometimes you have to face the past to see the future. Let's never keep silent again, she said. Never again, he replied, taking her hand. The city began to awaken. People walked to work, cafes opened, children laughed loudly. But for them, too, the world hushed, because they finally understood the most important thing was not to run from the past, but to let it conclude, to find the truth, to live. After meeting at the bridge, Lilia and Andrew spent more time together. They walked the city, talked about small and big things, laughed, shared memories, yet a lingering mystery hovered between them, unspoken. One evening, Andrew invited Lilia to the old library where he once worked. Amidst towering shelves and the scent of old books, he showed her a box of letters he had kept for years. "This is my past," he said quietly, "and yours, though you might not remember." Lilia carefully opened one envelope. The letters were old, yellowed, written in careful script, sometimes hard to read. They revealed stories she had long tried to forget, secrets no one should know, moments that changed everything. Each letter uncovered new mysteries, hidden feelings, mistakes that could have been avoided, choices that affected people's fates. Lilia felt her heart tighten with sorrow, but also curiosity. It was all part of their story, and now she saw it whole. Andrew said softly, "We cannot change the past, but we can understand it." They spent hours in the library, reading letters, sometimes laughing, sometimes shedding tears. Each new page revealed another layer of life, and with each word, they grew closer. Days later, Lilia returned to the small corner cafe where they had first shared coffee after university. There, she met a new character, Andrew's old friend, who knew more than he let on. "You're looking for the truth, right?" he asked, looking directly at Lilia. "But truth can hurt more than lies." Lilia shivered. She knew this meeting would change her life. "I'm ready," she said, though her heart pounded fiercely. They walked the city together. Andrew remained silent, his eyes revealing emotions he tried to hide. Lilia realized that they were both on the threshold of a new chapter. Suddenly, they arrived at an old street Lilia remembered from childhood. An abandoned building held memories of small adventures from youth. Hiding, first kisses, first conflicts. All of it lingered in memory, now a bridge between past and present. "I never thought we'd be here again," Andrew said, smiling through sadness. Together, yet apart. They sat on an old bench and a real dialogue began. "You once promised me the truth," Lilia said, "and now I want to know everything." Andrew took a deep breath. "Then listen carefully. Everything I've hidden, everything you didn't know, it's time." He revealed old secrets about people who influenced their lives, small events that defined their destiny. Lilia listened, sometimes interrupting with questions, sometimes silently, captivated by the flow of truth. The sun slowly set, painting the sky pink and gold. They sat side by side, feeling that each word, each memory would remain forever. Suddenly, a shadow appeared on the street, an unfamiliar woman staring intently. She approached slowly, knowing that their actions would determine the future. "I know what you're seeking," she said calmly, "and I can help, but there's a price." Lilia and Andrew exchanged glances. It was clear that everything would change now. Their adventure hadn't begun at the bridge. It began here, amidst the city shadows, where past met future. They knew that no step would be easy, and the truth they sought might raise more questions than answers. They stood facing the stranger in silence. Her stern gaze revealed she knew more than she let on. "You're seeking the truth," she said softly, "but the truth is heavy. Sometimes it changes everything." Andrew nodded. "We're ready." "Good." She handed them an envelope, similar to the one left at the bridge. "Inside is everything. Old documents, letters, records. You'll discover who is truly an enemy and who is a true friend." Lilia carefully opened it. She shivered. Each word could change her understanding of life and the people she thought she knew. They sat on a nearby bench, going through the contents. Newspapers, old notes, photographs, all part of a puzzle that made sense only together. "Look at this," said the stranger. "Here's everything about your father's past." Lilia's heart tightened. She had known little about him. His sudden death left more questions than answers. "What does this mean?" she asked, hands trembling. "It means your past is more complex than you think," the woman replied, "and what you discover today will change your life forever." The documents revealed dark secrets, old conspiracies, hidden conflicts, betrayals affecting many lives. Lilia read slowly. Her heart ached, but clarity began to form. Andrei sat beside her quietly, sensing her emotions, not daring to interrupt. "We cannot leave this unresolved," he finally said. "It affects not just you, but everyone living in the city." Lilia nodded. They decided to investigate the old warehouse at the city's edge, where important documents had once been hidden. Inside, Lilia found an old diary, revealing truths about people she had known all her life. They read on, realizing their lives were part of a complex web they had never imagined. Trust and friendship deepened, while the past, once dark, provided answers. Suddenly, footsteps echoed. A figure appeared, someone they thought was a friend. "You think this is all," he said, smiling under tension. "This is only the beginning." His words sparked fear and curiosity. Lilia realized the truth had layers yet to uncover. They resolved to unravel every secret, knowing the past would not release them otherwise. Night fell. The city seemed calm, but the streets hid their own life. They walked back carrying knowledge and the feeling that their world had irrevocably changed. "We'll do this together," said Lilia. "Together," confirmed Andrei. They walked the streets, every step leading to a new chapter. The past was no longer the enemy. It was a compass guiding them to truth, courage, and love. In the following days, Lilia and Andrei worked through all the secrets accumulated over the years. Each document and letter brought new emotions: sorrow, astonishment, laughter, and a hint of fear. One evening, they arrived at the old park from Lilia's childhood. Empty swings swayed in the wind, leaves rustled underfoot. Andrei stopped and looked at her. "We've faced the past together, and you know what I realized? Truth is never simple, but when you're ready to accept it, life becomes lighter." Lilia smiled. This moment wasn't an end, but a beginning. "Sometimes truth hurts," she whispered, "but without it, we can't live fully." They sat and reread the most important letters. Now they understood. The past couldn't be changed, but it could be understood and embraced. They visited Lilia's old family home. There, items revealed new facets of history: photos, her father's diaries, mother's notes. Each object told a story no one had dared hear. "Now I understand," Lilia said. "Life is made of small details. Even the tiniest step can change everything." They spent the day reflecting, laughing, and shedding small tears. It was a day of cleansing. The past no longer weighed, but became a resource for moving forward. Finally, they returned to the bridge where it all began. The sun was setting, painting the sky gold and pink. Lilia and Andrei held hands, feeling the strength of their journey together. "We are ready for the future," Lilia said. "Together," Andrei replied, "and we will never let the past separate us again." Their story, which began with a letter at the door, ended not just with the truth, but with the discovery of a new life, full of trust, love, and understanding. The past was no longer an enemy. It was the foundation for a new life, for new choices and decisions. Each secret, each difficult truth found its place, and Lilia and Andrei were ready to face the future without fear. They stood on the bridge until the last rays of sun disappeared behind the horizon. The city lived its life, but for them, this evening remained forever, a day when the past met the future and turned into a meaningful life.